big up, big up, big up, and welcome to Liberal 12th Man Show. I'm Liberal 12th Man, and I am here with Brian, and we're a little early from our normal 7 o'clock hour, but we are here early because I wanted to make sure that we got this episode not only in, but I also wanted to make sure that you got the chance to be a part of it so that we can kind of go over some fun stuff. It's always fun to do I think it's always fun to do one of those top tens and the tiers and stuff like that. So we've got a little bit of a break from football action. It is the new year. It's 2025. So happy New Year to those and every which one of you. And we are joined by Brian in the on the panel. How you doing, Brian, today on 2025?
Yeah, it begins again. The new year all over again. Christmas is done. New Year's is done.
It definitely does. It definitely does. It's wild that it's like 2025. It got here so quickly, to tell you the truth. I was definitely pleasantly surprised to see 2025 come in the way it did. I know some of us were certainly happy to see 2024 go. Some of us are also even happier to see 2025 but hopefully come in. I hope that brings everyone the wishes that they did and the resolutions. Do you do the resolutions as well, Brian, by any chance?
My only resolution is I don't do resolutions.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. So I know some people do the whole resolution thing, and I'm like, okay, interesting time
Yeah,
to
you're only
pick it, but I
setting
guess
yourself
they're
up for fail.
yeah.
Sorry. You're just
Yeah.
setting yourself up for failure, really, aren't you?
Yeah. That's what I would think, because I mean, if you couldn't do it before, chances are you're probably not going to do it now. But
Yeah.
still, make sure to say the whole Happy New Year for you guys. Um, big up, Philly Liverpool FC. Big up. Yes, let's keep this title, rolling on to a title for sure. Definitely Philly Liverpool FC. I need to definitely link up with you on. I'm gonna definitely link up on Messenger with you, Philly Liverpool FC. Definitely will get up with you. I want to talk to you about some things. He's got his own channel as well, so he does some things as well. Does a lot of different varied sports applications, whether it's wrestling, football, soccer, the whole likes. Red Armchair supporter, big up, greetings 2025 Reds. Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. I do have. Make sure I do have it. I had it started. I'll make sure I do start. I saw Bonkers give us his listing, and we will be getting into this list. I think I'm pretty excited to show this list off, actually, to tell you the truth, because I think this list is a very good list, to be honest with you. I know that's going to have some people saying, "Oh, well, I would have done this person, or I would have brought in that person," which is why these lists are always fun to get into, I think. So, I'm hoping that you guys stay with us. I hope that you guys are joining us. I know that there's some other channels that are putting on some other stuff right now. Some a little clickbaitish, I would say, a little bit, because they wheeled me into as well. Like,
Jamie Phillips. Jamie Phillips.
So like yeah, I thought there was some that got me looking around trying to find some news and everything else, and found out that nothing's really there. But all good. We are here with you, and that's all that matters. And hopefully you are here with us. Mentally, I know from the celebrations. And again, I'm hoping that you have a good one. And yeah, I think I'm not certain if we're gonna be joined by Lee or by JK or by Nolante just yet. But if they join us, they'll certainly hop in to the discussion. And in the meantime, you'll have to settle for myself, and you're not settling for Brian, but settling for myself at least in this conversation. And hopefully you'll bring some not entitled, excuse me, some real insight as to if you think the list is spot on or if you think the list is missing a player or two. So So now, I guess I guess I could give you some little background history as to why I even thought about coming up with this list, and primarily, primarily it was from a question that got posed to. It actually got asked of Virgil van Dijk, and I know because I asked the panel, or I asked some of the contributors up to the channel here a question. Now, it was a little bit of a leading question, I guess, or I think how Brian put it, somewhat of a, what'd you say, trick question? I think it was how you formulated it, the way I asked it.
Loaded
Virgil,
question.
a loaded question. Okay, a loaded question. Okay. So the question was, can you name can you name the can you name can you name a Dutch player that has led, I think that's how I said it. Can you name a Dutch player that has led their team as captain to a Premier League title? And it was asked to Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk kind of was like, you know, taken aback by the question. And because he obviously he's very proud of his heritage. and he is the captain of the Dutch team. He's obviously very, very big when it comes to being a Dutch icon. And he was just taken back. He's like, I don't actually know. Why don't he said, well, why don't you tell me? Because he tried to flip the question. And the answer was, there has never been a Dutch player to lift the Premier League title as the captain of their club. And that was like very, very surprising. So it got me to thinking of, like, I wonder who are some of the greatest captains or the most inspirational, the best captains we've seen for teams. And I think why is because I think Virgil is one of the best captains for this club, I think, that we've had the pleasure of having. And I didn't say he's the best, but I said he is one of the best. And but he's still got some time to push his claim up from on that list. But this is my premier ranking of captains. And considering Virgil van Dijk, if he were to win the Premier League, he would be the first Dutch player to do it as captain. I thought it would be pretty exciting to have that accomplishment get made and get done. So this is the long list of great players before him. It would be not only an amazing accomplishment, but also bring more credence to a player I believe will end up as not only one of our best, but I believe a top 10 captain of the Premier League era, if he were to be able to do some of the accomplishments that he might be able to set this year, if not next or the following, especially if he ends up staying with the club, which I hope that is going to happen. I understand that this is all depending on future accomplishments, weighing heavily on if Liverpool secures another Premier League, Champions League victory. I get that. That's at least speaking for Virgil. But given his leadership qualities, consistency, and immense influence on the pitch, I think Van Dijk is a captain with the potential to leapfrog players in my list. I'm not going to give the players away, but I think there are some players that he would leapfrog to be on this list. So I'm going to give you my top 10 best Premier League captains with some additional context, obviously. And I wanted to see how you guys feel about them. So Brian, you ready to do this?
Sure, yeah. Yep. Ready to go.
Okay, cool. All right.
Ready to stick the boot
so, yeah, stick the boot in. For number 10, and I did make a little tweak on the list that I gave you, Brian. So just so you know, it's not that big of a tweak, but it's just a little tweak. At number 10, I have Vincent Kompany. I have Vincent Kompany, a true captain and cornerstone of Manchester City's rise to prominence, of course. Kompany's leadership both on and off the field was instrumental in Manchester City's securing 4 Premier League titles. 4 Premier League titles for this guy, and he has a memorable goal, obviously, along the way for one of those titles at least, particularly in title deciding moments. And he certainly, by doing so, solidified his legacy with Manchester City. So I have Vincent Company as my number 10. Some might have him a little higher. Some might even have KDB as a suggestion for this title or for this position. If I'm going to say this is the Manchester City player that I possibly choose, I might have more than one on this list, but I mean, at least the first I would choose. I mean, I see Philly. Are you surprised to see? Okay, I'm gonna save your question for the end of the segment, Philly Liverpool FC. But are you surprised to see him at 10, Brian? Is this too high, or does he even make your list?
Well, you see, I mean, he kind of I think he kind of makes it because he was there before Mansour came along.
Mm-hmm.
He won a league title with them. I don't know if he captained them when they won that first league title. He probably did.
Yeah.
I think
did. I can double check for you, but I
think
did.
Fernandinho and KDB would have shouts, but he was never a player that I thought was actually available and often enough. I thought he got injured quite a lot. He has a very, very bad injury history. So that would be something else that would take a mark off him. Sure. But he's done it. So I think I think he's a fair representative to cover Man City.
Okay.
Considering how long he was there and sort of the way everybody speaks about him as well. So I think it's probably a fair one, especially over KDB. KDB is also at his injury
because
problem.
Especially if you factor in all the injuries and the likes that you're talking about, then that's something that can be held against KDB too.
Yeah. I think Company missed a lot of games, an awful lot of games, but he came. Mm-hmm. He does have a Steven Gerrard-esque moment, like you mentioned, with that long-range goal, but that wasn't in the league. So I believe that was in the FA Cup, wasn't it?
I believe he does have a. Let me double check.
No, that wasn't it. Sorry, I'm thinking about Tielemans scoring.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about something different. I think about something different. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was during he had one that was like a title.
The
title deciding
won
moment.
The league. Yeah. Struck it from about 30 yards. First goal he scored in about 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. But fine time to pick. It's a fine time to pick it. You know, if you're gonna pick one time, that's the team you support. That's what you want to see from your captain. You definitely want to see that from your captain. We're joined by JK too now. JK's in the chat. Or excuse me, in the panel. Excuse me.
How you doing, guys? Everything good? Yeah.
Good. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, and to you, Brian, as well, bro.
We're doing the list that I shared in the chat, and we're on number 10. We said something about Vincent Company being basically the possible rep. There might be another on this list, by the way, but certainly he's the first representative for Manchester City to be on this list.
Yeah.
Do you think he is a viable candidate for number 10?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he won a few league titles with them. And when you look at him as a guy, he's a sort of a leader. He's the manager of Bayern Munich now. So yeah, for me, Man City, he represents them.
I don't think Yaya Toure was the captain of their team. There are players that might have worn the armband. Okay. But it doesn't mean that they are the voted captain of the team. These are like the club captains of the team. So they're like the default. If it's the same way Virgil is the captain for our team, or Trent is the vice captain for our team. Obviously Trent has worn the captain's armband for us, but he's not the captain of our team. He's the vice captain of our team. So this is like you might have already Endo, for instance, wore the captain's armband for Liverpool this year. It doesn't mean that he was the captain of that game, but he's not the captain of the team. So that's the definitive difference in some of these players. They might be on teams where they won the championship or they won a title with them in wearing a captain's band maybe on, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the captain of the team. So these are all voted captains for these teams as being the names that we're offering. Let's move on to number 9 then. Let's move on to number 9. And number 9 is someone that I thought like there was a number 9 actually that was different for this list, but I've actually, like I said, I tweaked it just a little bit. And at number 9, I had on my list Alan Shearer from Newcastle United as being, obviously he's a goal scoring legend, captain of his hometown club. While Shearer didn't win major titles at Newcastle, his leadership, work ethic, incredible goal scoring, obviously, goal scoring record that he accomplished at Newcastle made him a symbol of the club, possibly the most like iconic, if not the most recognizable symbol of Newcastle, and was a natural leader for over a decade for him. I thought that Alan Shearer was a fantastic player, obviously, but also a leader as well for Newcastle United. And I have him at number 9. Now, I know that might tweak some people out there, might tweak a little bit or get some Geordies out there a little bit angry that their club legend isn't a little bit higher. But number 9 is where I have him. Am I being harsh? JK, by putting him at number 9?
Like for me, I'd have company in front of Shearer.
Oh wow! Okay.
There's the trophies to win.
Okay.
For me, a captain. I don't know. Alan Shearer, top goal scorer, top of the league, top of the table. Everyone's sort of after Alan Shearer. He didn't win enough trophies for me to be recognised as a top captain. For me, even the guy before him, company, goes before him.
Okay. Brian, am I being too? Do you have the same reason? Do you have some same reasoning? Should he been 10 rather than 9? Is that or does he even make your list?
He doesn't make the list that pops into my head because when I think of Alan Shearer, I think of a lot of things, but his captaincy, his that that part of it doesn't really come into it. I'm not sure. It's a real odd one. I just remember Shearer at Newcastle, all the goals. I don't really remember him as being a captain, because if you don't win trophies, it is hard to kind of nudge yourself. If like he has the record goal scorer. He played like 380 goals or 380 games for Newcastle, scored about 1 billion goals.
Right.
So yeah, hometown boy, hometown club. It looks nice. It's probably it's a very Newcastle centric one that he doesn't land on my list.
Okay.
I mean, he gets into a top 10, yeah. But if you're getting down to the nitty gritty, I think he's more filler, if you know what I mean. It's
okay.
Yeah,
because he never lifted any trophies for them, So I probably would have. Yeah,
having known the list that I've given, who would you have included instead of Shearer then? On if you were just taking the 10 that I've given you already, if you wanted to take Shearer out, who would you have put in?
I would have just swapped him a company. I would have let him in because all the games he played,
Okay.
the way he did represent the club, as best he could, which his job is to score goals. He scored goals, and he scored them by the bucket load. So yeah, no, I think he does deserve a spot in a top 10. But yeah, he didn't lift any. If he just had one trophy to lift up, you could say, and he won him the FA Cup, or he won him not like he won it for him, but he lifted the cup for him, or he lifted the league for them. It's he gets in. He gets in. Like Philly was saying, he didn't even know he was a captain. It's just when you think Shearer, you think goals, you think, because you very, very rarely think of strikers being a captain. Yeah. It's very unusual, especially these days, for a number 9 to be the captain of a team. So, but
yeah,
I'm sure Geordies would have him probably number 2.
yeah, they would. Yeah,
they are a funny bunch, though. These Geordies are a funny bunch. They might even say, "Oh, it was Kevin Keegan," or it was Gary Speed, or it was someone like that. I don't know. They are a funny bunch, but to me, top 10, yeah. I'd be with Jake. I'd just flip the order. I'd have Shearer in 10 and Company 9.
Okay. 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 This is why I wanted to, I'm glad that Brian and JK both had time to be a part of this. Because like I said, I think that that our panel, normally the people that are part of our panel, whether it's Lamonte, Lee, obviously JK or Brian, I think that these guys have some incredible knowledge and history of the game, as well as some and most of you, I should say, of the chat that have seen some of the history, either up front and live, or at least live and direct on television. We've watched some of these absolute legends as well be a part of it. So I'm glad that they're able to share some of their knowledge with you. So. And again, I just posted in there. If you want, put your list in. If you have a list of the top 10 that you want to share or you think is yours, put in the list. Put it in the chat and make the list, and I'll be sure to start like I did Bonkers. And if you have a question that's on topic, be great. If it's off topic, it's still good too. Put it in the chat. I'll start and I'll be sure. If it's on topic, I'll bring it up pretty much immediately. If it's off topic, I will share them after we're done what we're doing right now with this top 10 list. So all right. So we have a little bit of already. The 10 to 9 spot could possibly be swapped for each other, but this number 8 player, I think, will be certainly a player that either might go up higher, or you're just glad to see him on the list. Excuse me. And that player is our Jordan Henderson. Hendo's leadership, obviously, is something that was a key factor in him getting picked quite often in our title runs, whether it was Champions League title or if not even our Premier League title. Hendo's leadership was obviously pivotal in a lot of our recent success, known for his tireless work ethic, his determination, his tactical awareness. Henderson captained Liverpool. He captained our Reds basically to our first Premier League title, our captained us to also Champions League glory under Jurgen Klopp. He was immensely important in those runs, in that his leadership was a difference maker. It was so much so that even he was getting nominated for Player of the Year at one point, simply on the fact that he was such a integral part of the team. Without being the best player per se on the team, he was certainly a very influential player on the team that definitely generated and kept basically the steering wheel going straight, at least when we were going forward for some of these titles. Number 8, Jordan Henderson. Too soon, or
for me, bro? I think Henderson, the amount of flack and disrespect he got in his time with us at the start of his career with us, and then maybe at the end, the middle part where he won everything was sort of running okay, But for me, without Henderson and his energy and his shouting during the games and stuff, I've heard like some games where he's mic'd up. The way he sort of Trent even says it, if it weren't for Henderson, he probably wouldn't even been as good as he was. He sort of helped him quite a lot in his career. I got big respect for Henderson. He came into the club to replace Gerrard. He knew himself he probably asked them questions himself. Am I good enough to do this? Because everyone knew Steven Gerrard.
I think he did, especially taking the captain's armband off of Stevie G. Basically,
big pressure. Then he was sort of floating around going to Fulham, and then sort of Jurgen Klopp came in, and then two sort of hit it off with each other. I think Henderson was a sort of right guy for Klopp to work with. Henderson isn't a guy who's going to make trouble, going to be arrogant. He just gets on with it, you know. And that's why I liked Henderson. It was his work rate and in the way he was captain of Liverpool, never embarrassed the club. You know, and the disrespect he got at the end really pissed me off. You know, so but for me, he won a Champions League and a Premier League title, and that says it all, bro. You know, as a guy from Sheffield, from Sunderland area, to come to Liverpool and captain Liverpool to a Champions League and a league title after 30 years, he could be even higher in the list for me. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I've never had issues with Henderson. I really like them.
Okay. All right. It's only a list all the same, you know. It's like these are all just my picks as well. So it is what it is. I got you.
Maybe at the end of it all, when we've said the names, I will tell you the order I'll probably have them.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I mean, you've got the list. You can
I
definitely
got the list, yeah.
You can jot down who you want to switch around at the end. I see you. Philly Liverpool FC says Hendo was top 5 for him. I got you. I definitely got you. I mean, he's only 3 spots off top 5, so it's not that far away from top 5. Yeah, he made top 10. That's still a major accomplishment. Brian, too soon? Is Hendo too soon or maybe too late? In I guess however you want to look at it.
Let me see. It's only 6 o'clock here. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this at 6 o'clock in the evening? Do I want to fall out with absolutely everybody at 6 o'clock in the evening? I don't think I do. I'm not sure I do.
There you
go. Close. It's close to a no comment. He's not on my top 10.
Wow.
I think he's lucky. He was lucky. He was at Liverpool when a lot of stuff happened. Yeah, he made his contribution. No doubt he did. He's an okay player. People talk about Trent. A lot of talk about Trent at the moment, about legacy. I have nothing but respect for JK, but I have absolutely no respect whatsoever for Jordan Henderson. None whatsoever. I think he torched everything that he stood up for. All the slogans, all the sayings, they all got thrown in the bin. And that for me, there's no coming back for me from what he did. It's a strong opinion, I know, but it's one that I stand by. It's one I'll always have.
Regarding
no time or respect for Jordan Henderson, none whatsoever.
Yeah, but regarding what was it, Brian, that you lost that?
The obvious thing that he did that I don't really want to get into.
Okay.
I know this conversation was big back in the days. Like we ain't had it in a long time, you know. But for me, I see it like this. See, with Salah and the Christmas tree, he tried to build bridges with the both groups of people. Same way with Henderson. He didn't have a decision. Should he wear them captain armbands? That's what people don't really understand. The captain's got no choice in this. They have to wear them rainbow armbands, you know. And it's like businesses. You can ask the business.
I don't think that was what was the issue.
No.
But I know.
Like for me, what seems to be the problem? He went to Saudi Arabia to play. Yeah. At the end of the day, he worked with sort of both parties. One sort of people who are against it and ones who were for it. So he did both parts of it. For me, he went there. Liverpool didn't want him no more. Okay, if Liverpool said to you, here's a contract for 3 more years, he probably would have signed it, you know, but they didn't. So for me, he did what he did. I've got no problem with that.
I don't know if I would go as far as say Liverpool didn't want him anymore. I think Liverpool was going to require him at a lesser capacity, and he was informed that he was not going to be
top dog
involved in the same capacity that he was used to being. Because one thing I've always said, especially for Klopp too, is that if you were the captain, you started. you started pretty much every match if you were the captain. And Jordan Henderson, at times, I will admit, of his career was not at the level where I would say he demanded to be starting. I remember we spoke about Naby. There was a time when there was Naby, Fab, and Thiago were playing, and that should have been our midfield. That should have been our midfield, for instance. But yet Henderson, because he was the captain, got starts, and that's at least how I perceived it. You might perceive it differently, but I think that he was someone that knew, and I did see and hear comments being made about the fact that he did kind of make grumblings or make a little bit of issues in the locker room about the fact that he believed he deserved to start. Sometimes, even though his play didn't necessarily dictate it, that he should start.
No, at the end of the day, I don't like when players come to the club, be successful, and then in a way get sort of not pushed out, but just like disrespected out. Look how many people took the piss out of Hendo since he's left Liverpool and when he was about to leave Liverpool. A lot of Liverpool fans. None of these guys could put the half.
I think that's also because of what he did.
Yeah, but what did he do? What did he do? Really? Like, come on.
I don't want to get. I know I'm like Brian.
Yeah,
I don't want to necessarily get into it. I just wanted.
That's not the conversation. That's not.
Yeah, that's a separate conversation. Yeah.
Like Philly, Liverpool don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll have another episode for that for related to that. But oh wow, I guess let's segue quickly then out of weather. If you want to have Hendo, I saw that Philly Liver FC has him in his top 5. I know I saw Bonkers has him at number 4 in his top 5. I think Jordan was an incredibly important leader for our team and the likes, but there are some that this list is not. I mean, to be top 10 is a major accomplishment. Let's not just because he's not in the top 5 doesn't mean he's not still he's still a top 10. And that's because if you listen to some of these other players I have, maybe you'll see why I might have said so. Because this next guy is for a player and for a team, unlike Liverpool, no one necessarily ever really had them being considered to be a real possibility of lifting the Premier League title. And the next player I have on here is Wes Morgan. I think Wes Morgan was a key figure. I know Ant might like to see this list. He probably might have Wes Morgan even higher than I have him on this list. But Wes Morgan was a key figure in Leicester City's fairy tale Premier League title win in 2015-2016 season. As captain, I think Wes Morgan had leadership ability, obviously, was a no-nonsense style of player, was crucial in that team that obviously defied the odds. I mean, if you bet on that team early to win the Champions League, you're probably still spending some of that money that you won because them winning that title earned him a special place in Premier League history. And I think he earned a special place with Leicester City fans, the likes, knowing that he was the one that was the first to be able to lift that trophy as captain. Immensely important player and someone that I think was a part of a club that I don't think anyone really the reason why I have him so high is because to lead a team through a year that no one has you being where you're at and to get to that final finish line and get your team across the line, I think that is some true ability as captain. The Wes Morgan, number 7. Brian, your thoughts?
A one-off season, incredible achievement. I think close to relegation the year before, very, very close. That was. I couldn't put him above Company.
Okay.
I couldn't. I think like what they did was incredible, but it was sort of here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing.
Okay.
He was around a long time, but yeah, to anybody that captained that team to that title win, yeah, would deserve to be in the top 10. I know he's loved there. I know, like, and he was quite old actually.
Yeah.
He was getting towards the back end of his career when he maybe 33, kind of when he won that league.
Yeah.
He seemed like it anyway. So it was kind of late in his career to do that. Yeah, I know doubt he's loved there. I mean, that whole team is probably loved there. Apart from maybe I don't, maybe there's one guy that left that they don't like or something. But I'm sure Morgan is a bit of a legend there, much like with Shearer at Newcastle. So yeah, he definitely deserves a mention. I think it's how again, everybody writes their own list of where you want to put him, but he should without a doubt be in the top 10. He's not in your top 3. He's not in your your peak guys, the big name guys we'll be getting to, but he deserves to be in the list without a doubt. Very, very special. And I think probably the only Jamaican ever to win a Premier League, maybe, I think. Might be. There might have been another Jamaican.
You mean as captain?
Oh, without doubt, as captain, yeah. So yeah, he's got
because you could say Sterling is technically, he's Jamaican too, so.
There's a lot of but that actually plays for Jamaica. There's a lot of those English kids could declare for Jamaica as well. No doubt about it. Like JK pointed out to me, yes, I had absolutely no idea Ethan Pinnock plays for Jamaica.
I did, yeah.
So,
I'm just saying because I know he has like
dual
citizenship status. Or something.
Which bloody Jamaican guy?
Yeah.
As and the JK, a lot of people in England from Jamaica because they used to part of the Commonwealth and all that. But no, he has to be on that list. He's got to be on there, man. A remarkable achievement for a club, and I think he played pretty much every game as well.
So what do you have like in your list? Would you have probably at number 10 then? I guess.
So let me see. We could.
Well, I know you already said that.
Well, I'm not taking Hendo out. No, it's yours.
Right.
I'm not going to take anyone out of this 10.
Right.
I'm not going to fuck with the 10. So I'd have like Hendo at the 10. Then Shearer, then Morgan, then company.
Okay. So wait, say again real quick.
So I'd go Henderson, Shearer, Morgan, company. Descending order, 10 to 6.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I do want to hear all your lists too, if you have differences in the chat too, by the way. Okay, so we got number 7. JK, do you want to say something about Wes Morgan?
Number 10 for me.
Number 10 for you. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Wes Morgan gets bumped to number 10. All right. Gotcha. I have this is for all the people out there that say that I am anti-Gooner. I just can't stop poking the bear when it comes to giving a little banter towards our Gooner friends. But this is an obvious show that I do have love for even our Arsenal side of London. And by saying that, I will show you that at number 6, he's showing some love there too. At number 6, the man that's getting kissed on the cheek there is someone that's a lot of people might know as Mr. Arsenal, Tony Adams. Mr. Arsenal epitomized leadership, obviously at the heart of the defense for Arsenal. Adams' tactical intelligence, obviously his loyalty to the club, made him one of the Premier League's most respected captains, leading Arsenal obviously to numerous trophies, including their unbeaten 2003-2004 season. It is something that he doesn't get into my top 5, but you'll see why he doesn't get into my top 5 shortly. Number 6, Tony Adams. JK, is that too harsh? Is that
no? Top captain, leader on the pitch for Arsenal at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was involved in the era where Arsenal were good.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, yeah, good captain,
Mm-hmm.
top captain, definitely in the top 10. I don't know where, but he's in there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Brian, how about for you?
Yeah, I think it's a fair placing. I think sort of upper mid in the 10 would be fair. He took over. He was at the forefront of the change. From Bruce Rioch, George Graham, the famous kind of 1-0 to the Arsenal. You'd never score against them in the league, kind of thing. That kind of, but also the heavy Arsenal drinking culture that was going around at the time. He was right at the heart of all of that, and he then managed to kind of transition to the Arsene Wenger style of play, which is not a lot of those guys. Dixon bought into it, Keown bought into it, Winterburn bought into it, he bought into it. Ray Parler, he had a little bit more trouble with him, getting him to buy into it. But when they realized the benefits, and I think it was kind of like, well, if Tony can stop going to the pub, which look, he's had his problems. He's a very difficult life off field. But I think if they looked at someone like Tony Adams, who may have been doing things privately, but at least publicly, he was knocking the Tuesday afternoons in the pub on the head. It was no. When Wenger was coming, he bought into all those new ideas when he could very easily have gone, here, lads, this guy's talking a load of, foreign nonsense, but he went with it. He really embraced the new way of doing things and the new vision that Wenger had, dietary, fitness wise, all those things. So, yeah, I think he deserves a huge amount of respect for that. And I think, as you said, he was known as Mr. Arsenal. To me, it basically whatever I remember back in the day, whenever he was on the ball, people would shout donkey. He had a reputation. They used to call him a donkey. Say he can't play football. He heads it, he kicks it away. He can't play. I think he showed under Wenger that he can play. He could play as well. And I think it's a huge testament to him. He's a very interesting character. Really, really strange guy sometimes when you see some of his interviews. But yeah, he's someone that I've kind of always been very interested in knowing his story, because he came from one culture and moved into the next, and he was kind of excellent in both. So I think, yeah, he's very highly deserving to be on the list. So
Okay.
yeah, I think where you have him now is spot on. It's fine. I wouldn't move him.
Okay. Cool. All right. So at least I got one right. One right by my picks according to the panel. At least relatively close enough. Hopefully in the chat you can say yes, thumbs up, thumbs down if you disagree. It's cool. Because this is the tough part of these lists, is that you have to nominate people that you don't necessarily like as a Liverpool fan, but you have to give due respect and acknowledge the fact that they were very influential in and for their clubs. And this next individual is such, in my opinion, and he is someone that gets in at number 5. Now he breaks into the top 5. This one might be kind of controversial, but he is someone very similar to Henderson taking the armband away from Stevie, in that this individual is a player that was a stalwart for his team. And that is at number 5. I have, it kind of gives me heartburn to say it, but it's okay. At number 5, I have Gary Neville. Certainly it's a shame that we don't have his brother-in-law on the panel to speak on this one as well. But again, Gary Neville was a United stalwart, that he was a vital leader. I would say that for both the club on and off the pitch. I know I get it, red armchair supporter. I get he was often overshadowed by United star players on the team because they had that year or those are the years when they had some exceptional players on their team. But as the captain, I believe Neville's consistency, his discipline, leadership at right back made him one of Sir Alex Ferguson's most trusted captains, and is someone that certainly learned from some good leadership, good leaders from before he took on the mantle as to what it meant to be a captain. So I have Gary at number 5. Is that? I don't want to say it's I know some might say it's blasphemy to even have a United captain, but again, this is an impartial list. Obviously, I'm trying to be as impartial as possible. Obviously, and I did have Gary at number 5. Is that too high for him, or is that too low for him? What do you think, JK? Is Gary Neville make your top 5? And hi, Bernie, by the way.
Like, for me, he's the type of guy you need in your team. If he plays for you, you love him. If you don't, you hate him, you know. He's one of them guys. Top captain, yep, 100%. He's got a real ugly bias against us guys when he commentates and football stuff.
You
like,
think?
You can give it a break, you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, for me, these guys are meant to be not biased. He's
Right.
full time against Liverpool, you know. He had Liverpool probably playing 5th, 6th, you know, in his predictions at the start of the season. He still got Arsenal.
He did.
As his prediction, you know. So for me, I don't have him in my top 10, 100%. I'm not sure which number, but for me, he was a very important part of that United successful sort of era.
Yeah. Brian.
That's Cedric,
yeah. What about, is this too high for Gary to make on the list, or?
I think it is a bit high. It seems very high to me, the 5th best captain of all time. I'm not, just because I'm not sure how many games he captained them for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a kind of, he'd be a captain at most other teams, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's bloody Gary Neville though, so no, he's not getting in my top 10.
I'm not doing the bias thing. For me,
yeah,
I
know.
But if I'm gonna do what he does, he's not in my top 10.
Okay. All right. Well, then you might want to hold. You might want.
Yeah. No, I'm cool with the other ones. I'm cool with the other ones. I'm cool with the other ones. But but I would have said that. No, I would have said what would he be, one of the other ones. I would have. We'll get onto it anyway. But yeah, look, good, well done, Gary Neville. Basically, enjoy your trophies and your career at Valencia. You know, when you're telling other managers what to do, just bring up your Wikipedia from Valencia. Let's see. Let's have a chat then.
Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. I got the sentiment from the chat. I got you on that.
So happy we're playing them this weekend. You know.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
Well, why I did say that, you know, some of these players I know. Yeah, I did say you shouldn't look at the rest. I know. I meant, like, hopefully you do stick with us for the rest of this list. We're in the top 5 now. We're about to round the bases here. Because at number 4, I did speak on how Mr. Arsenal was at number 6. And there's a reason why he's at number 6 and not in the top 5. And that, for me, was because I had this individual in at the number 4 spot. An absolute powerhouse in the midfield. This man comes at number 4. It is Patrick Vieira. I think that at number 4, I think it's a good shout for a player whose leadership was instrumental in Arsenal's dominance during the early 2000s. I think he is a legendary player, but also a legendary, iconic style player in the midfield for any team. That he would have been, if he was on any team, he would have been an absolute icon. But his leadership was crucial in their unbeaten 2003-2004 season. And his no-nonsense approach made him an ideal captain to lead Arsenal through one of the most successful periods of their club's history. I think that's why I had to put Patrick Vieira as my number 4 captain of the Premier League era. How do you feel about that then? Brian, we'll start with Brian this time.
Yeah,
does it make sense
for me? Low for me. Low. Oh, sorry. No, if you're no, I mean, yeah, he should be higher. He should be like better,
higher in the ranking. Got you.
Yeah. He's definitely comes in. I think like it's sort of, it's like, you know, that kind of word association thing when you say think of a captain in the Premier League. Like he's one of the first you think of. It's just he defined that whole era when they were what some Arsenal fans still think they have a right to be now, or they could be now. They were absolutely different gravy. Vieira, Petit, Lundberg, Henry, Bergkamp. I mean, the list goes on. That is a phenomenal side, and wow, man, he was one of the. I hadn't really ever seen anything like him in the Premier League when he came in. Unknown guy from AC Milan. Bruce Rioch signed him, but he joined because he knew Wenger was coming. And he unleashed him on the Premier League, and it was like, what the hell is this guy? He can do absolutely everything.
Okay.
I didn't hate, I had no hatred for Arsenal back then. I actually, I liked the fact that they were the ones going toe to toe United. So if I was going to be rooting for any of them, I was going to be rooting for Arsenal, right? You know, because it was either going to be them or United that won the league. So I was always going to back them. He wasn't my favorite player at that club. Was obviously Bergkamp and then Henry, but Patrick Vieira, man, he could run an entire, not just a midfield, he could run a pitch, box to box, passing, tackling, shooting, and then just that. Yeah, if you've ever seen a captain in your life, that's a captain. That guy right there, man, absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. I see. This is what I love to see. I see that Bonkers had him at 2. Bernie has him at 3. Okay. Yeah, this is why I thought this would be a fun show. It's because I mean you're gonna have some differences in opinions, but they're welcome here. They're definitely welcome because we do it respectfully. So Red Armchair Supporter has him at 2. Okay. A lot of love for Patrick, definitely. I think you'll understand. I mean, like it's when you get into the top 5, it gets really, really difficult. You're looking at possibly like, how they say, like you're looking at like razor like razor hair, I guess is how it's said, right? Or razor difference. There's like the razor's edge difference.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of these players as being whether they should be this ranking or that ranking. I'll say that because I know the next individual, fine margins, as the Red Armchair Supporter says, thank you. The next individual could be number 1 for some. I know he could be. I know actually he is number 1 for one of the panelists here, but there could be an argument for him being number 1, maybe number 2, this or like. But this is Manchester United's final entry into the list. I'll just give that away. And that's because it is for Roy Keane at number 3. I had Roy Keane, known for his fiery passion. Roy Keane was the heartbeat of Manchester United's dominance, obviously. Under his leadership, United secured a treble in 1999. They continued to thrive for years to come after that, with Keane's aggressive leadership style and winning mentality at the forefront. That was a very, very key component of it. He represented a bar that he expected not only from his players, but from himself. And he expected everyone to reach, or at least accomplish reaching that bar as well. And he took no crap from anyone, whether you were a friend or a or a teammate. Did not matter. So I have him at number 3. I know some of the panel does not agree with this ranking, so I'll allow for JK to go first, and then I'll go to Brian. JK, number 3 for Roy Keane.
About right. He could be one of the best, if not the best. Player-wise, for me, wow, what a player. You know, I at the time when he came from Forest to United, I thought we need this guy. You know, he went to United, and at the end of the day, him and Ferguson sort of fell out when he left and stuff. But for me, he was the main guy. Remember them arguments between him and Vieira in the tunnel before the Arsenal Man United game? And why I like Vieira was he was like a Liverpool fans looked at Vieira and thought, yeah, man, he's going up against United and Roy Keane. You know, so hence why a lot of people who are Liverpool fans got sort of soft spot for Vieira, because them games were big them days. It was like Arsenal Man United, big game. And them two were really sort of at it, you know. But Roy Keane, for me, he's the type of guy you want to be captain for your team. 100%. What a player.
Yeah, Philly, Little Prophecy. If you want to take a guess, go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong, but you'll have to wait and see if you're right or wrong. But you're welcome to take guess. Brian, go ahead. Give your say. I know that you have him at number 1, so go ahead.
Oh, clearly the greatest Premier League captain of all time. Clearly, as far as I'm concerned. You want to talk about setting standards. You want to talk about raising bars. You want to talk about settling for nothing less than excellence in training on the pitch. 100% commitment all the time. This is your boy. This is your boy. If you bought a company and you gave him the keys to it tomorrow, you could go away on holidays for 2 months and you wouldn't even have to look at your phone. This guy is just rock solid. Paul Scholes and David Beckham are 2 of the best passers of a football that you've ever seen in England. They both said that Roy Keane was the best passer of a football they ever played with. They said his first touch was incredible. They said he is the most underrated player they've ever played with. He gets the headlines for his temper, his fight, all of that stuff. He was a phenomenal footballer, a player. He got a yellow card against Juventus in the Champions League semi-final, which meant he knew he was out of the final. What did he do? He scored twice to win them the game. That's why they were in the Champions League semi-final. He knew he wasn't going to be there. He ran that game. He dominated. That was a top Juve side. He scored twice. Wow. Won him that game. That guy was just relentless, unstoppable. So, and it's absolutely got nothing to do with the fact he's Irish. If he was French, if he was Scottish, I'd say
no one said that.
No, but I'd even say it, but because for us, he was the same, and he caused problems for us with his pursuit of, excellence. Everyone knows about what when he walked out on the World Cup squad. So yeah. I mean, that show you talk about impartiality, you talk about just saying it as it is. As a Liverpool fan, I can say that guy right there that did it for Manchester United is the best captain I've ever seen in the Premier League.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you just heard it there. I see that Keane made number 6 for Bonkers. He didn't make even his top 5. That's surprising. That's surprising. I think he's the best captain Manchester United have ever seen.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No, I wish it, Bernie. I wish it was. I wish he played for us. I wish it was talking about him doing all those things for us.
Yeah.
It literally has got nothing. Like, I could say this no matter what nationality he was. The guy is just next level. Yeah, and that JK brought it up. That tunnel moment where Vieira was basically trying to bully Gary Neville, who's about 7.5 feet shorter than Patrick Vieira. And Roy Keane sees it and he just walks straight into the middle. The funniest thing is, he just shoves Gary Neville out of the way. He doesn't stand it. He doesn't, hey, stop. He just pushes Gary. He says, get the fuck out of here, Gary. This is not for you, man. And he says, I'll see you out there on the pitch. man, that's one of the greatest ever moments in the Premier League. Roy Keane squaring up to Vieira in the tunnel on camera.
Classic.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That don't even happen anymore. Like they're all
No.
friendly, too friendly
Yeah.
to me. Like for
Hugging
me,
and
they're
sharing.
swapping shirts at half time.
Yeah.
You know that players swap shirts at half time, and I can't believe what's going on nowadays. It's like for me, the guy, even after the game, maybe a high five, if that, with the opposition. Like for me, let's get down to business. Be nice, yeah, of course, but at the end of the day, it's like you need some fight. You know, too friendly for me. Starter games, you know. Like for me, you need that competitiveness. It keeps the games sort of spicy and interesting and exciting. You know, I'm not a big fan of this friendliness.
Got you. Well, do you want to speak about?
Okay, I'll tell a story quickly. I bumped into him at a services in Coventry. I missed the flight and had to get to London, so I got a night bus thing, gets the ferry, and it drives you down to London through England, but it stops in Coventry, right in the middle of England. Big, huge services, like a, cafe, all night place for petrol and all that. And I was in there getting coffee. I'd seen this other car pull in. We were on the coach.
That was me.
I was one of the last in, and then I was up. They were all getting food, and I was getting coffee. And I noticed it was 4 o'clock in the morning, so everything was closed. It was only us. And then I noticed 2 people walking out the corner of my eye. It was Roy Keane, and who I assume was probably his agent. He looked like a football agent, basically. And I kind of did that double take thing. I looked up and I looked back straight at him, going, "It's Roy Keane," and he gave me a look that in a split second said, "Don't." Like, it's 4 a.m. I get you just recognize me, but don't. And I'm like, cool. Yeah. And I was like, he's like, don't. And then so I just looked back down. I started like making my coffee, and then without even noticing him, all of a sudden he was stood beside me at the coffee machine making his coffee. Because he knew I wasn't going, "Oh, it's Roy Keane." But if I just gone, "Dude, I'm Irish," but he just with one look, I knew he was like, "Nah, man." I was like, "Cool." He's got that look, man. He's got that force of personality, like. So I wouldn't like to come up against him on a football pitch. I know that much.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great story, actually. Cool insight. I think like you probably would not have had the same type of persistence, or not persistence, but same type of interest, I think is a better word for it. You wouldn't have the same type of interest to approach this next individual. It probably would have been for something different. And that is because this next individual is someone that I wasn't exactly happy to see him in this list, but I had to, again, be honest and understanding of the fact that there have been decades of the Premier League that were certainly included this team as being one of the more, if not the most successful times during those decades. And that is for
Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
Chelsea.
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of did him a little bit dirty by not putting him in a Chelsea kit for his picture there. But all the same, this individual, Mr. John Terry, he's one of the most successful captains in Premier League history. And Terry captained Chelsea throughout their golden era, securing 5 Premier League titles, 4 FA Cup titles, and 1 Champions League title, which cemented his legacy as one of the finest leaders, or one of the most accomplished leaders. I'm going to say finest, but I'll say most accomplished leaders in England, and certainly for Chelsea. He has definitely been a key part and a key captain in establishing themselves with their legacy. And I have him at number 2. He's not a player that I like in any way or mention of the name. He's not a player that I would want to have a beer with or anything like that. So, but I do give him the respect that he is He is Chelsea's best captain, I think. And would you say different, possibly, Brian? We'll start Brian first, then we'll go JK this time.
Captain, leader, legend, eh? As he likes to constantly refer to himself. Let me see. How do you say this? Everything you want in a captain as a footballer, but everything you don't want in a human being, basically. Just look up John Terry and what he's been charged with. Look up John Terry and Anton Ferdinand. You know, this is their guy. But if you want to talk about 600 games, league titles, you can't deny really, what he did. So I just put him. Yeah, but because what he was as a person, geez,
it's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is
it's
tough
to separate that. It's very tough to separate that. But yeah, accomplishments wise, and what he meant for the club while doing it, and how he was the man for them. He was their captain. That's why he gets the number 2 spot. I think that's just he absolutely was. This is during a time and era of Chelsea where they're starting to buy big names. They were starting to buy superstar players. They were spending frivolously, if not frequently, on big name stars and the likes. And he and John Terry had to keep that locker room together, and that much I can give him. Well, I'm not going to stay too long on John Terry because he is someone that you thought might be higher, might be lower. JK, did you
say
yeah, John Terry, did you want to say something before we move on?
The same as what Brian said, really. Exactly that, player, top class. As a guy,
yeah, exactly. As a guy,
but for me, it's a complete package. Like when I look at Virgil van Dijk, the guy's nice, but on the pitch, he gets down to business and plays football. Right. But he's a nice guy. Like he's the whole package for me. Van Dijk is the perfect captain.
Bonkers. No, by the way, sorry, Bonkers. No spoilers. You can't give a spoiler. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my label. Yeah. Yeah, for me, Terry. He's in the list, of course.
Yeah.
He won it all, though. You got to understand that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's won a Champions League. He's won obviously multiple prems. Absolutely incredible player. 4 FA Cups. That's an accomplishment in itself, right there.
You're not telling your kids to look up to him. You're not telling your kids to follow his example, are you? No. And that's when you talk about captains. They have to bring that extra bit of
class.
Class. Exactly. Class.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, which does mean that all in all, he is basically the perfect Chelsea captain.
Yeah, he does represent.
Yeah, he represents without a doubt. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so he does represent them very, very well. Definitely very, very well. Well, I said that there might be two when I said when I said Vincent Kompany was on this list as City's representative, but possibly not their only representative. Okay. It did kind of give away maybe who might be on the list later on in it, and being that there's only been one representative for City, we moves us up to our number 1 captain of all time in my opinion in the Premier League. I mean, look, City's had immense success in this league, so it brings us to number one. It brings us to number one. And at number one, like I said, yeah. Oh gosh, if I put Bruno Fernandes, that would make me probably have to get the airplane vomit bag out if I were going to say that. But no, like I said, Cities has had some phenomenal players, some phenomenal teams, some phenomenal captains, and you got to show due diligence. There could have been a shout maybe for a Spurs captain that did get them to like a Champions League final and the likes. That's a good shout too, but you can't deny City. I mean, City has had some good times. So at number one, who I put at number one as the Premier League era top captain is gotcha. Stevie G. Heck no, I'm not putting a Manchester City player at number one. I know. There's absolutely no way. The guys on the panel aren't really surprised because they already saw the list. So I appreciate them not ruining the hook there. But yes. Gotcha. Oh man. Stevie G is going to be the one that gets the medal here as number one. Look, despite never winning Premier League title, I think Stevie G's leadership and contributions to our team is legend. It's already created him as legendary status. Obviously, hometown boy, leading his club to glorious status, despite the fact, again, never winning a Premier League title, but still winning plenty of silverware. And sometimes in campaigns where it seemed like he was almost virtually putting the team on his back and dragging it across the line to get to some of these accomplishments. So he's got iconic moments, obviously, as a 2005 league Champions League winner. That defined his tenure as one of the greatest captains, as like we've all known about the stories about what he said in the locker room, how he went out there and not only said words in the locker room, but then went out onto the pitch to bring the team glory by scoring that absolutely iconic historic goal for us, and then basically allowing for our, inspiring our lads to go on and win. I think though that even if you say, oh, well, that's outside the Premier League, he still had some enormous performances as captain on teams that should not have gotten to the spots, sometimes the placings that they got. Yet because of him, he was a big part as to why we were always a threat. And I believe his drive and passion made him synonymous with what Liverpool is identified today. When you think of Liverpool, you think of, the grit, the heart, the absolute determination, the will to win. Stevie G was just that. And he is someone that I believe definitely signifies what leadership means, and also signifies what Liverpool is to this day. I think that's why I have Stevie G as my number one. So, number one in your heart. I know that you didn't necessarily have him as number one, Brian. You had Roy Keane as your number one.
Yeah.
But I'm certain Stevie G would be in your top five, certainly. How do you feel about Stevie G? And where would he place, if he's not number one for you, where would he place on your list?
Yeah, I know it's difficult. It's difficult for a Liverpool fan to say no. He never won the league. Other players played in better teams, but he never won a league. So when you look at everything he did on the pitch and off the pitch, I just think, for me, Roy Keane did everything he did, but he also won multiple titles. The thing about Stevie, we were talking about this the other day. We were talking about Trent and him wanting to be captain and all that. And I was trying to debunk this whole Trent wants to be captain, he won't leave because he hasn't captained the club. It's like, Come on, guys. I said if you said to Steven Gerrard, he could have the career that he had at Liverpool, right? Exactly the same amount of games, goals, the performances, the Champions Leagues, and all of that. But in one of those seasons, in that that one season under Rodgers, it panned a tiny little bit different, and we won a league title. Would you take that league title, but only ever having been vice captain at Liverpool? Like there was always some other guy. Like you never actually were full time first choice captain. You were only ever vice because Hippie was there, and then we had some other guy and some other guy and some other guy. Would you take your career at Liverpool without a league title, but having been captain for so long, or the same career with a league title but never having captained the club? I think he's taken that league title. So I put him behind. I would put him in third. I would put Roy Keane first, Patrick Vieira second, Steven Gerrard third, and then the other. But they'd be my top three captains of Premier League era. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I didn't think that Vieira would surmount Stevie on your list, but that's interesting. Okay. JK, how about for you?
Steven Gerrard is the best passer of a ball I've seen with my own two eyes. When I've been to games at Anfield, just watching him play was like, whoa. You know, he was a one-guy army, you know. You got to understand, when you look at Keane and you look at John Terry, you look at Company, all the teams they played for, they had world-class players next to them. They're both big. You know, John Terry, come on. Look at the players they had in his era when he was there. Same as Roy Keane and same as Company, for example. Steven Gerrard's played with Charlie Adams. You know, them type of guys. You know, he played with some very bad players. Hence why he never won a league. He had it in him to win a league, of course. But for me, as a Liverpool fan, he's my number one captain in the Premier League era. But if I'm going to do it without thinking about Liverpool, I would say John Terry and Roy Keane are ahead of him because of the amount of things they've won. Okay. You know, what is captain like? For me, captain is the whole package, and that's what Gerrard was. John Terry wasn't the whole package, you know. Roy Keane, on the field, yeah. Off the field, I'm not really sure. But Gerrard was like there for Liverpool fans, this, that, and the other. He was just like a one-man army. Hence why he's my favourite captain of the Premier League era. Yeah. It was him on his own sometimes in games, you know. But as a Liverpool fan, yeah, he's the best captain.
But that's it. See, that's what I try and do when we do these kind of things. I just try and imagine that I'm an Exeter fan. I don't support any of these clubs, and I just try and look at it as dispassionately as I possibly can. Because otherwise, I just go Stevie, Hippia, VVD, you know, like, because otherwise I wouldn't be fair to myself, you know. But that's why the fact that like John Terry, I had the fact that some of the things that he's done are on record, I can use them against him. You know what I mean? It's not just I hate the guy. If I was going my hatred meter, he wouldn't even be my top 50. You know, but if you're looking at it properly, dispassionately, like JK saying, you'd have whoever Keane and Terry had him or whatever. So that's what I try and do, because otherwise the biases. But the guy, like, yeah, no, JK, you're right. You know, and that's what I was saying. I mean, some of the dross, and it's not even to be honest. I think it's more the players that he had to watch leave was almost as bad as the players we asked him to play with. He had to watch Alonso leave. He had to watch Torres leave. He had to watch. Well, he had to beg Suarez to stay for another season. Suarez wanted to kick up his stink and go to Arsenal. when that bid came in, he was the one that convinced them, look, stick around for a year, do what you do, and forget about Arsenal, dude. It would be Real Madrid, it would be Barcelona, and they'll be paying they'll come in for you. And it worked out and it paid, but he was having to beg people to stay at the club. Literally, can you imagine
doing the dirty work, donkey work, bro.
Oh, he was JK. He tells a story about when we were trying to buy Tony Cruz, I think it was, and the club was in a bad. The club was in the doldrums. We weren't convincing anybody to come to the club. And Brendan Rodgers asked Stevie if he would text. I think it was Tony Cruz. I'm almost certain it was. And Stevie was like, "Are you serious? I don't even know this guy. What do you want me to do? You want me to text? Oh, Tony, it's Stevie Gerrard here. I'd love it if he'd come to Liverpool." He's like, "Don't be putting that." He said he was embarrassed, that the club was asking him to text players that he didn't even know. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll be able to get his number because I'm Steven Gerrard. I'll just text one of the lads, or text one of the other lads. Yeah, and then he'll get Cruz's number because he'll know a German guy. Bang, he'll be in touch with him. But the club was asking him to try and convince players to come and join us, and he was just like, "Oh, please," So a lot was put on him. Like Bernie said, the stress, the Chelsea move. He did go through a lot at the club.
He did.
Yeah. Stevie G, definitely one of our greats. Certainly a Premier League great. I can understand. I can understand your reasoning behind why you might not have him as your number one. I do relate the fact that I get that again. What Bonkers was saying was certainly something that you could attest the fact that I didn't weigh in the Premier League titles as being a huge factor in why I thought Steven Gerrard was the best. I just think of it as without him, Liverpool would have been a shell of itself if it had not had Steven Gerrard as a part of.
At times, without a doubt. At times, 100%.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly ask. I know you're pushed for time, but quickly, JK, you said you've been to Anfield. You see the best passer of the ball you've ever seen. What about Mr. Alonso? Hey, ever heard of Xavi Alonso?
I know what you mean. Saying that, I've never really seen much of Alonso.
Yeah, no. I know Gerrard was unbelievable.
I've seen a couple of games, but I've seen more. Like I've seen Gerrard every time I went. Yeah, Alonso could pass. Yeah. But I just I don't know.
But Stevie had that kind of more in him. Different types of passes, maybe.
Different type of passing, Yeah. But Trent for me is up there with him. Did you see that pass I sent in the chat? A little clip of a video where Trent played for a ball against West Ham outside of his foot, and it just sort of slid to Salah.
Yeah, he bent it around.
Around the referee was it? I think the referee he just went around the referee like a F1 car going around a corner. I was like, that guy is next level, and that's what people don't understand about Trent. I've always thought he's going to do that more often in his games. Split defense is one pass, He's got it in him. He don't do it enough for me.
Yeah. I have Bonkers list up here. Stevie G all the way, he says. Then he has Patrick Vieira at number 2. Number 3 was Vincent Kompany for him. Number 4 was Hippia. I don't know if Hippia will necessarily qualify for captain of the team for Premier League, but I get what you're saying though. Hippia did captain the team, but I don't believe he was the voted.
No, he's captain. No, he was. Yeah, he was captain in the Premier League. Definitely, he would qualify.
But he wouldn't. Okay. All right.
No, he definitely was. For a while, back in say 2001, 02, 2000,
Okay.
Hippia would have been the captain. He gave it to Stevie G. So it was when Stevie G took it over, it went from Hippia to Stevie G. So he was the previous club captain.
Yeah, I guess it's because the years he was captain, we didn't. If you're talking about Stevie G didn't win the Premier League, we didn't win it certainly with Hippia as our captain during those years. That's probably why. But we won more illustrious silverware with Stevie than we did with Hippia as the captain. That's the reason.
Yeah, I think Sammy was captain in the treble year. The Houllier treble. I think is that year he was captain.
Okay.
I think, yeah. But yeah, he wouldn't be in the top 10, no.
Right. Wes Morgan, and then he has Hendo, and then Roy Keane, I think, as 6. There was a question here from Philly Liverpool FC. He says, question for the panel. Are you surprised at the start for Liverpool in both Premier League and Champions League, considering the new format of the Champions League? I am not surprised by our start for the Champions League in that we did a live draw of the Champions League here, and when I saw the draw get put out, I thought that we had a good shot of doing very well, considerably, because we did have to face, obviously, Real Madrid. I get that. Leverkusen, another formidable team as well. But we had both of those games at Anfield. If they were at their home grounds, it would have been possibly a different story that I would have went with, or in the sense of predicting our success. But because we had those games at home, and because our away fixtures against the pot 1 and pot 2 teams were probably teams that were more on the lower end of the pot, I thought that we had a very good chance of being successful in Champions League, and that's why I predicted us doing so well in certainly in the group stage, or the league stage, I should say. As far as our brilliance that we've seen so far, I did pick us to win the title prior to the year starting, but I picked it because I believe that this year I was hoping we would see some fall off from Manchester City, which we have. I was thinking also the fact that because there has been so much build up, and now that they were going into this year as certain favorites, quote unquote, for this year, I certainly would say that Arsenal were the favorites for this year. I thought it was going to be too much pressure for them, to be honest with you. And considering their history, I thought that they would probably come up pretty short. I actually had them falling off quite a bit. And then other than that, I didn't see anyone else really contending for us for the title this year, other than those two teams. I have Villa as in my top 4, but I don't have them contending for the title. I just had them contending for top 4. And out of that, I had Liverpool as being a hands-on favorite to win this year. So that's my reasoning. Quickly for the panel, did you guys want to chime in? Because we have to leave in a couple minutes here. So
no, not super. No, obviously, sorry. Yeah, surprised that we're top of both leagues, and nobody expects we top of both of them. Definitely that we're doing this well. But yeah, there was a version of this that I could see happening. But yeah, I wouldn't have expected it to be going this well for us. So yeah, I was a little surprised at how well we're doing, but not surprised, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't think anybody expected it to be going this way. So yeah, well, I would say yes, but also I had a second or first if City fell off like I thought they would, and so that kind of way. But yeah, no, the way that we've done it though, basically only lost one game of the league and be unbeaten Champions League. Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Mm-hmm. How about for you, JK?
Sky's the limit. And what I like about it is sort of we've done it with no fuss. No, we've had a few injuries, don't get me wrong, and stuff. But all in all, I'm not counting my chickens, because for me, in the internet world we live in, the more we celebrate right now, the more the vultures are waiting on the side to jump on us, you know. Other clubs will be going over the fucking moon now. You can imagine Arsenal now in our position. You can imagine it. It'd be wild out there. But they'll be doing street parties.
Yeah, they will.
They'll be doing street parties halfway with top of the league, Champions League, this, that, and the other. So for me, I'm waiting until May. But fair play to Arnie Slot, what he's done. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised in that way because I knew the players we had at the club. We're capable of winning games and big titles. We're capable of it. Look at the players we've got. Hence why it wasn't a surprise, but it is a surprise in the way we've gone about it. I think we've done really, really well.
Okay. Well, Hustle Bones expected pain. Well, the only pain, no gain, right? So yeah, we've definitely had enough pain in some of our campaigns before this, and we've definitely gained some certain inspiration, if not some certain knowledge from those campaigns, and I'm hoping we can apply it to this campaign. But that's our list for tonight. I have compiled a top 10 that I believe is top 10 captains of the Premier League era. Look, I really thought about this list primarily because Virgil van Dijk, in my mind, could very well make this list in the future. That's all depending on what.
I was surprised he didn't get a shout. Nobody.
Yeah,
I was surprised he didn't get a single shout from anyone.
Yeah,
you know why? Because Hendo won the league and won the Champions League as captain. Virgil hasn't. He's only started. So
right.
Yeah, his time will come. I think if he stays, he's got 2-3 years to do some serious winning.
Yeah, and that's the whole part important about what I'm saying. Like his leadership on the pitch combined with his consistency, his presence at center half, obviously make him a prime candidate for future greatness, iconic status, if you want to put it that way, for this club. Especially with the potential to add more silverware to his resume. Obviously, it's going to make a difference in this list. But if he leaves Liverpool, which I do believe that he's going to possibly have the opportunity to do this year, to future glory, then I think he could be a strong contender for maybe top 5, I believe. I honestly could say as far as high up as that if he does win a Champions League or a Prem or maybe both. This year, especially, I think he could challenge the likes of Neville, and certainly he'll bump Company off this list at the 10 spot and bump everyone down maybe a notch in the order there. But we'll see. We'll have another list. I'm certain if he does do these accomplishments, trust I will make another top 10 list of great captains. But with that said, yeah, the quad would be, if he does the quad, then yeah, he's easily in top 5. But yes, that's where we're going to end today's segment. If you've watched this on the replay or if you're watching this now, please do put in the comment what your top 10 list is. If you differ from mine, definitely include yours. I don't think it was an easy list at all to make. Obviously, there's some tough decisions on some very good players. But yeah. Lee joining us just at the end here. Big up. But yeah, if you let me also, I'm gonna put something in the private chat for you guys to decide.
Bless Lee, how you cool?
Hi guys.
One question, bro. Who is the best Premier League captain of all time in your eyes?
The best captain. Well, I'm going to go for one of our players. I thought about other clubs, but I'll pick Gerrard.
Go on, lad. Go on. Proper Scouser there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Had to pick Gerrard. Had to be done.
Had to be done.
Okay. I do have to. I know that Lee doesn't look at the private chat here, so I'll just ask him openly. I do have to go, and I have to take some friends to the airport, unfortunately. So I have to leave, but I don't want them to miss their flight. So I do have to leave. I'm already almost 10 minutes late from leaving. So I'm going to say that this, Lee, Brian, do you guys want to continue on, or Are you guys or do you want to maybe are going to do maybe your own show after this?
Oh, actually, yeah. If JK is going, that would make more sense. Actually, yeah. If we can end, and then I'll just go and jump in a half an hour and do something on my channel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
If you guys want to pick
I've
up
got
this
nothing prepared
conversation.
at all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you maybe want to pick up this conversation, you're more than willing to or more than I'm sure he'll be more than willing to take on this question if you want to pick this up with him on Brian's Irishman football channel. Other than that, I'm going to say that I appreciate you guys joining us today. Appreciate the fact that I hope that you guys had a great New Year. Again, I hope that you enjoyed the list. If you don't don't agree with the list, please put in the comments what you think is your list. If you do agree with the list, please put in the comments that you agree with the list and the likes. JK just put in the Irishman's channel in the chat. If you want to bump over to there, he's going to say, like he said, he's probably going to go live in a few minutes, a half hour, if not a few minutes from now. Yeah, it's going to be it's a fun list to have made though, and I appreciate the fact that you guys were here to be able to be a part of it. I know Lee was a little late for it, so hopefully Lee will have some time to possibly even help out Brian in a little bit. But yeah, do you guys want to say something before we bounce out?
No, peace, people.
No, you go do your thing. Your friends are probably going where the hell is
I'll let Brian bring the end to the show. But I'm gonna bounce out. People, big up,
peace,
much love, and definitely hey, the bottom line is up the Reds always for sure. Definitely be careful out there, be safe, and then we'll see you tomorrow for our we have a bunch of shows actually lined up, some fun shows, some more tier shows and the likes. Definitely join us for the rest of this week, and then obviously we're going to get prepped for that big game that we have coming up against United. So I will see you guys soon. I'm going to turn over the reins to Brian to take over from here. All right, definitely. Take care, guys.
Take care, man.
Peace, people, as well.
Okay, mate.
Yeah, take care, Lee. Or Lee, not JK. Yeah, so everybody in the chat, that's probably what I'll do. Take 10, take 15.
And then you're gonna put a link up, are you, Bri, for your channel?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll go live then instead. So everybody that's here in the chat, if you can, just keep an eye out on my channel, and I'll just try and think of a title or a thumbnail. I'll throw something up, and we'll get the conversation started up again because we all we did the list, and everyone had their opinions and different. So anything you want to talk about later on with regards to your best captains and all that, and maybe we can talk about my my comments earlier on, which were a little bit controversial, but maybe not. But anyway, yeah, that might have given me an idea for a thumbnail. So we will see you guys all soon. Thanks for being here. And like 12th Man said, because it's a while now until we well, not a while, but it's a couple of days. We've got a few shows lined up over the next couple of days before the Man United game. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much, everyone. Night.